What's up, guys? So for the past 2 weeks, you've been tuned in to Money Mondays. You've seen the checks, you've seen the wires, but you're like, man, how does this guy get paid? He doesn't work a 9 to 5, so where's it coming from? It's not a direct deposit. Well, here's the answer. It's called a HUD statement. Now, if you're in the real estate business, you know exactly what a HUD statement is. Now, before you get the judgment, for me out here in the wife beater, I actually just came from a workout and I'm about to go on a hike. So I figured, since I, went on a workout and I'm about to go on a hike, then I shouldn't take a shower. That's just how I'll be thinking. So, yeah, I'm a little smelly right now, but I'm about to go get this hike in. So I'm like, I'm not about to hop in the shower and I'm not about to dirty up my clothes. So y'all gonna have to take this information with me and the wife beater. Now, a HUD statement is how information gets broken down as far as who pays county taxes, liens, not liens, but county taxes, recording fees, all those little minute details that you see in the purchase agreement. That'll be all displayed on the HUD statement. So that'll show exactly where your assignment fee is, exactly how much the seller would get out of it, and exactly how much the buyer has to pay. Now, before I show you guys the HUD statement, it's important for you to know that there's two different kinds of HUD statements. So there's a HUD statement where there's a regular HUD statement, being that your assignment fee is actually showed from the buyer and seller. So that means that the seller will be able to see your assignment fee. The seller will be able to see, let's just say if you're making $5,000, the seller will be able to see that and along with the buyer. So oftentimes, guys, sometimes that right there can cause your whole deal to fall apart. And that is why I like to work with title companies that do what's called a split HUD statement. So a split HUD statement is how last week or earlier this week on Monday, you saw that I had a $23,000 assignment fee. Now, most people, when they're closing $23,000, on a HUD statement, you're not going to keep that on a regular HUD statement because your seller is going to usually go crazy. If they see that they could have made $23,000 more, that can cause the whole deal to fall apart and you end up in court trying to figure out how you to make your, sue for a specific performance with your seller. Now, the beauty of the title companies that I work with is they use what's called a split HUD statement. So that split HUD statement is what it allows your assignment fee to only show on the buyer's end. Now, you'll see exactly what I mean, but you got to understand, instead of your seller being able to see that you're making $5,000, only your buyer will be able to see that you're making $5,000. So on the original HUD statement, your seller only sees exactly what they're getting from the property. So they don't see anything else except for if they have to pay some taxes, prorations, they'll see that, and they'll see cash to seller at closing. So they'll see their specific amount and not the amount that the buyer has to pay. So on the buyer's HUD statement, you'll only see you'll see your assignment fee. So that's why, $23,000 can get closed as a regular assignment fee versus it having to be what's called a double close. Now, if you were to do a double close, just to touch on it a bit, you will have two different HUD statements. So there'll be one HUD statement between you. So if you were the B transaction, so, A is the seller, you're the B. So let's just say if you're buying a property at $50K, the seller will see $50,000 and they'll see how that's broken down as far as if you have to pay any fees, costs, anything like that. And then there'll be a separate HUD statement where you go ahead and sell that property, let's just say for $70,000. You're going to have it and close it out to your end buyer in the same exact day. So that's completely different from a split HUD. The split HUD, you don't have to pay any extra closing costs because with if you're double closing, you'll have to pay closing costs one time. Now, in the personal contract that I give you guys, my free purchase agreement, which you can download in the link below, you'll be able to see that I have a clause in there that says buyer will pay all closing costs minus any unpaid taxes, mortgages, or liens. So that means that you don't have to pay closing costs at all. It assigns to your end buyer in your assignment contract, which you can download for free as well. But that assignment contract lets your end buyer have to pay all the closing costs. But if you were to do a double close, then you actually have to pay the closing costs for your closing transaction. So between the seller and yourself, and then the end buyer would pay their closing costs between you and the end buyer. So the split HUD and the HUD statement are the only two ways to be able to show how much is getting paid from a real estate transaction. So let's get right into it. What I'm going to show you guys today is a split HUD statement. So the split HUD statement, you'll see that since I'm the party that's, receiving it, I received a specific split HUD. So it shows both ends on it. Now, the seller HUD statement will look different than what I'm showing you today. The seller HUD statement will just show the seller side. The buyer will show the split HUD. So the buyer will see the seller and themselves as far as how much they're paying us. You can close a, $10,000 plus deal as long as your buyer is okay with how much money you're making. And that's the beauty of a split HUD statement. Relies more on relationships versus your seller, who can get, pretty emotional if they figure out that they could have probably made, $20,000 more if they didn't sell it to you. All right, let's hop right into it. So this is the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, which is where you get the name HUD. That's the acronym for Housing and Urban Development. So type of loan, there's no loan because this is a cash closing, right? Cash sales, you see it right there. So file number, name of address of borrower. So your borrower is your end buyer. So this is your end buyer right here. The name of address of seller, this is your seller who's selling you the property. This is the property address, property location. H, settlement agent, that's your closing title company. And then settlement date. So we closed this a couple of months ago, back in March, and it was funded the same day. So if you had closed it on the 4th and it was funded on the 6th, it would say 0306 right here instead of the 4th. All right, so jump right into it. Contract sales price, $50K. So that's how much you, being the investor who's assigning the contract, this is how much you got it for, right? So you got it for $50,000. Settlement charges to borrower is $1,184. So this is all the closing costs that your end buyer had to pay. They ended up having to pay $1,184 to close this property out, right? So now assignment fee, this is how much you get paid. So remember I told you, this is a split HUD statement. So I'm getting this HUD statement because I'm a vested party in the transaction, being that I'm getting paid from the buyer. So one thing you guys need to know that's very interesting is, in a wholesale real estate transaction, if you're getting an assignment fee, the buyer, it will never show that. Let's say if you had a $5,000 assignment fee, it will never show how much is on this, right? So if you were to look on a county site, it would not say that the property was purchased for $55,000. It will only show that it's purchased for $50,000. And, to make things, if you don't have a solid relationship with your buyer, like, I still would double close on it if you're making over $8,000. So if you're making over $8,000, I would say double close on it. That's just my opinion. But at the same time, if you have a solid relationship with your buyer, you can go ahead and, keep it on the HUD, keep it a split HUD, save yourself an extra $1,000 from not having to pay that closing cost. All right, cool. So we got it right here. Assignment fee is X'd out. Guys, come on, it's Thursday. It's Thursday, baby. You only see how much money I make on Money Mondays, all right? And speaking of Money Monday, make sure you tune in this Monday because, guys, it's the most important check of my real estate investing career that I'm sharing with you guys this Monday. And when I say the most important, I mean it's the most important to me. It's very important to me. And I'm actually still in the processes of closing this one. And faithfully, the HUD will be delivered tomorrow, and I'll have that for you guys on Monday. That way, I'll be able to post it on Memorial Day, and that'll be the release of Cold Cost of Success as well. So I can show you guys how you can start cashing in, making these 5-figure plus checks. You feel it? All right. So contract sales price on your seller side, $50,000. It shows it right there. Now, it don't show any of this county adjusted for items paid. It doesn't show this until we get to the bottom, right? So just know that this price is ultimately just a lot of, kind of those things that's in the free purchase agreement that you can download below. So gross amount due from borrower. So the gross amount is this 101 plus 103 plus 104. So that's how much your borrower has to pay. So the settlement charges to borrower plus the sales price plus your assignment fee, that's the gross amount. Now, gross amount due to seller is going to be that 50K, right? So this is 50K because it's net, not gross, right? So it's gross, not net, excuse me. So first half property taxes was paid outside of closing by our seller. So they already took care of that. But now you got this $625. Now, at first glance, you may think that the buyer would pay for this. But no, because most likely this was back taxes, right? So you see it right there. That's back taxes because the back taxes, we closed on this on the March 4th. So why would we have to pay, taxes from July? So that's back taxes that our seller had to pay. So that's $625 total paid by/for borrower. In this case, it was paid for the borrower, right? So This right here, as you see, $50,000 less reductions in amount. So 520, so line 520 being right here. And we had to deduct that from the 50K. So our guy got $49,374.30 is how much he made. So with him making that amount, that's his gross amount. Now he, because he's working with us and because we provide a great service, we paying all the closing costs. Now we deduct this 625. So this gross amount, again, this is how much that our borrower / end buyer, that's really the end buyer, this is how much they have to pay, including your assignment fee. I don't need you guys doing no numbers, so I'm blocking it off. You feel me? You only see how much money I make on Money Mondays. Episode 3, the final episode of Money Monday, is coming to you on the release of Cold Call to Success, and that'll be this Monday, Memorial Day. Cash from borrower, that includes all the numbers. So you take that gross amount and then you subtract 625 because our seller is taking care of that 625. So you take that gross amount minus 625 and then we get our net, right? So this is how much they net. Now you're going to subtract this and not add it because they have to pay this money. Now, if they were, receiving the money, you would add it, but you have to subtract it. So this is how much our seller in total had to pay, right? Cool. So we go down here and this is where it gets fun. So $77.36 county property taxes. This is prorated tax. So, and prorated means for the months that the time that your seller did not use, they don't have to pay for that time. Your end buyer will have to pay for it. So since we closed in the beginning of the month, this is how much they had to pay. And settlement closing or closing fee, $150. Title examination, $250. Title insurance binder, $100. So that being, $100, then we go ahead and go here. Title insurance, again, $287. So owner's coverage, this was how much they got, $287, got them that. And recording fees, $42 right there. City, county tax stamps, $200.50 right there. And e-filing process recording, $4.50. Deed preparation, $100. And courier / processing wire, $50 for them to send and receive a wire. So that equates to $1,184.50. So we saved our seller all of this money, right? And we saved ourselves the money too by making sure we add the clause that buyer would pay all closing costs minus any unpaid taxes, mortgages, or liens. So since we got that, this is all to the end buyer. The end buyer had to pay it, right? So this $1,184.50 is included in his gross amount, right? Along with our assignment fee, you subtract that 625 from past unpaid taxes from our seller, then we get our cash from borrower, the total amount that our borrower had to pay. And like I said, guys, something very interesting is that this $50,000, like I said, that won't be showed on, if you're, let's just, hypothetically speaking, this was $5,000, this is only going to show $50,000 on the county auditor site. It will not show $55,000. And that's why oftentimes a lot of your, if you have somebody that maybe want to, rent the property, do the BRRRR method, buy, rehab, rent, refinance. If they want to, do that method, they may require you to double close it so it can be more accurate for the bank as far as how much they actually pay for the property. That way it'll be, able to account that in their refinancing of the property. So sometimes they will want you to actually go ahead and double close just for the simple fact that they can show exactly how much they paid. But also, oftentimes, more often than not, they'll be okay with you doing an assignment fee. And again, remember, this is a split HUD statement. So this split HUD statement, the only thing the seller sees is this right here, $50,000 like this, right? Not paying anything, cool. That's all the seller will be able to see. They won't be seeing this right here, assignment fee to, to your LLC. They won't show that, right? So assignment fee to D'Angelo. They won't show that on the HUD statement. That saves you a lot of hassle because you don't have to worry about paying for somebody to, do a double close, which means that you'll end up, subtracting this amount, right? You'll subtract this $1,000 from your assignment fee just because you had to pay for a double close. And if you're making $5,000 and you got to subtract $1,000, that's pretty whack. So do this. And like I said, do a split HUD, and you need to find title companies that do a split HUD. And, keep in mind that, you guys may have not seen how you have to, get a title company, but I'm going to show you guys that this week as far as, what makes a title company a good fit for you as an investors, right? So we're going to do a deep dive into that, how to choose a title company. But this is, what a HUD statement is, guys. It's not a big thing. This is how money is shown that's paid in a real estate investing transaction, right? And I told you I had to show you this, guys, because you've seen the checks, you've seen the wires, and you need to know where it comes from. And it comes from this HUD statement, right? So the HUD statement, and who knows? Maybe I'll open it up for you guys so you can see how much your boy making on the HUD statements. Who knows? Who knows what happens on Money Mondays? It gets wild on Money Mondays. Tune in to Money Mondays, baby. And as always, get the Steppin, right? You need to get the Steppin so you can get you some HUD statements. You can show me how much you making on your HUD statement. Nah, you don't need to show me how much you making, for real. I really don't care. And only reason I'm showing you guys how much money I'm making so you can know that it's possible. And that's the main thing I'm getting at with Money Mondays. Not only that it's possible, but that I know the way and I'm showing you the way of how to be able to make this money. And I got the way for you, which is cold calling to success. As always, baby, get the Steppin.